Good evening, people. It's me. I'm back. For those who don't know me, my name is Courtney, and I am here to talk about a section of my book, and which is called How to Survive in Babylon. And what I want to discuss this evening is this chapter. This is chapter 16. Chapter 16. And it's about raising your child in Babylon, aka modern day society. And I'm going to be touching upon very much about educating your child in this day and age and the importance of it. So let me start just by reading a few sentences about a section in this chapter called Educating Your Children. When it comes to educating our children, it's something we should take very seriously. For years, we have been told to go to school, get a good education, and hopefully land a good job. That message might seem solid when you're a child, but as you step into the real world, you start to see that the basic education from the school is quite limited. School education serves primarily as an academic tool aimed mostly at securing a government job. If this is the only kind of education your child has received, it's likely they won't reach their full potential because of their limited knowledge they've been exposed to. Right. So, my take on this subject is, as I've just read, our children, I was told this when I was growing up, when I was going to school, that, you have to get a job, go to college, right? Get a good job, right? And, quite a lot of us have done that. And we're still here struggling, right? It's not that we're getting richer, we're actually getting poorer. So it's that things have gotten worse. 2024, it's going downhill, right? So this is why we have to educate our children. And I'm not talking about school, right? When it comes to school, like the school system, right? The school system is a limited institution where your child isn't really going to learn much at school, right? When you look at the people that own the institutions, these school institutions that we send our children to, they don't want our children to very much supersede theirs. It's a competition. For those of you that don't know. Right, just in case you thought that school was going to be the best institution for your child, right? It's not enough for your child to just go to school thinking that they're going to become some millionaire or they're going to be some future innovator just by going to school. If your child is going to bring, or be an innovator or bring something new to society, school is not really going to do that for your child. I'm sorry if I've broken your heart. Just in case you think, my child's going to go to school and they're going to just be, they're going to be so great after school. Sorry if I hurt your feelings, but that's not the reality. If you want your child, right, to do great things once they have left the Babylon institution, which is school, you as a parent are going to have to do extra work, right? You're going to have to educate your child at home outside of school, right? You're going to have to put in some extra minutes at home. It's not enough to send your child to school, right? Because let's think about it. What is your child actually learning at school, really? What is it they're really learning? What is it like? Talk to me. If school is the best institution for our children, why is it that this society is falling? People are not thinking, right? People are not thinking critically. We're not actually seeing a critical thinking generation because the schools are not teaching children to think critically, right? We send our kids to school, right? They've created this institution called a school, and they very much give us this what can I call it? They're giving us this very much washed up curriculum, this curriculum that doesn't really take our children to the next level. It's this dumbed down curriculum that our children are given, right? And then when they finish school, they don't really know much about the real world, right? It is a dumbed down curriculum that these schools give our children. It's a hoax, right? So when you're thinking your child's going to finish school and be the most intelligent in the world, you realize that when they finish school, that's not the case, right? If you want your child to move forward and to do great things, you're going to have to take some time to really put in that work at home. So I'm talking about at least, you're going to have to spend at least, depending on how much children you've got as well, right? But at least spend at least 20 to 30 minutes a week giving your child that extra education at home, right? And you've got to teach them something at home that is going to be of value, right? Not their little school homework that they get from school, like actually real revolutionary education, right? There's things you could teach a child at home. You could teach them about politics, right? Give them some home training that can actually help them in the long-term life skills, right? Teach them some politics, teach them how politics works, teach them about money, teach them how money works, right? You could teach them how the banks very much invest our money. These are things children need to know, right? Teach them about the world they live in. Teach them about the society that they live in, right? Teach them about how to deal with the everyday person in society because there's people out here that are very uncivilized, and your child's going to grow up and deal with some uncivilized people, and they're going to need to learn how to deal with those people in a manner that is, civilized. You have to teach your children these things. This is all part of educating your child about the real world and the real society they live in, right? School does not do that for your child. So it's important that you educate your child. If you're leaving your child to be taught in this system, this system is very much designed to keep your child at a subservient level of thinking, which is not a high thinking. So that's not a compliment, right? It is to keep us in a subservient position, right? So that whole dream of go to school, go to college, get a job, this is 2024. That message is dead now. If you're still teaching your child that same message in 2024, you are clearly asleep, and you really need to wake up, because this is not back in the day when that used to work, where you could finish school, get a great job that pays the bills, and you could just live. That's not the case in 2024, right? It's hard times now. So we as parents, we have to educate our children further, right? You have to buy books, right? And teach your children things that the school will never teach your children, right? Like for me, my children, I've got a son and a daughter. I don't just send my kids to school and hoping that the school's going to teach my kids everything, because there's been times when the school has miseducated my children, right? They taught my children, right, that there's a thing called good drugs, right? So these prescribed drugs that come from the pharmaceutical companies, right? This is what they're trying to teach my children. That there's a thing called good drugs. Since when has drugs been good? See, this is what I'm saying. They've miseducated my children a few times, and I've had to, re-educate my children when they come home. Right? This is the reality, and the schools are miseducating many of the children, right? Not really giving them the proper information, right? So it's up to you as a parent that when your child comes home from school, ask them what they've learnt in school, and if you know that they've been miseducated, it's up to you to re-educate your child and, give them the proper information, right? So educating your child is very important outside of school, right? Make sure you're teaching your child things that the school will never ever teach them, right? Because I'm telling you, if you rely on that school system to educate your child, your child may end up, basically just going to be brainwashed, and they're just going to think that what they've been taught in school is the education, when there's other forms of education that is revolutionary that are not taught in the schools, right? When it comes to politics and money, there's books out there that you can buy for your children, even if they're like, 7, 8, 9, and 10. There's books out there for their age that goes a bit more in depth about politics and money, and even books about philosophy, right? You can buy beginners books for your child about philosophy, right? Because philosophy teaches children to think, right? These are the things you could be teaching your children at home, like, just spending, 20 minutes per week with your child, because I know you could be busy, you're working all week, you're tired, right? So every weekend, just spend about at least 20 minutes with your child. 20 minutes per week, that's all I'm asking you to do. So that is a task I give to parents of today. Can you spend at least 20 to 30 minutes a week with your child, right? And just teach them some extra knowledge that the school has never and will never teach them. That's a task I give to the parents of today, right? And if you're going to say you haven't got time, then you got to look at what is it you're putting your time into? Are you just a parent that just sits at home and watches a lot of soap operas and spends time on TikTok and, spend time watching videos that are just entertaining? Because if this is what you're doing, then this is where your time's going. And this is why you haven't got time to educate your child, because you're putting your time into other things that are not going to benefit you. So how about you reduce, the time you spend on whether it's watching, soap operas, watching TikTok videos that are just, some of them just full of nonsense. How about reducing the time that you're watching those things and put some of that time and effort into giving your child further education in the home? So on this note, I'm going to end this chapter here, and I will see you in the next video.